Now, while I don't crack my knuckles really, because they're just not crackable, and from what I understand, that's not good for you, I will metaphorically crack my knuckles, and we're going to get into part 2 of tonight's broadcast. That is taking these characters here that we generated throughout the course of this past week. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're just going to have to take my word for it that as of this broadcast, we generated these characters. These were the synopses. We as players generated them separately and then came together and said, all right, here's our strengths and weaknesses. Here's our roles in the party. This is what we're going to try and do together in order to become a cohesive unit. And that's great, because here we're effectively level 1 characters. We didn't bring their rolled levels into this. That was part of the random character creation to illustrate different things to consider. For intents and purposes here, we are DMs running for these characters, and they're all level 1. Sir Rhodey says, oh, but cracking my knuckles feels so good. It does, and I have friends who crack their knuckles, or they'll crack their neck, and it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Ugh. Alright, so here's our blank sheet. A note as a DM that we're kind of getting into in the past segment or in between the segments. You can have best laid plans for your PCs or for your story, and that won't necessarily come to fruition. The PCs also should be aware of this. If we look at Ankora here, she has this discovery about what lies beneath the waves. It's this interaction between two of these primal elements. There was this, she has her draconic history, which can span back hundreds of years to these majestic beasts. We can explore her druid circle and the waters of the area, and we can even go into, pardon me. That's the hazard of drinking soda is you only rent the bubbles. With her hermitage or even aspects of her personality, and you say, I as a character have so much going on here, and I want to take her in this direction, and I want to make sure that we visit my island of Dragonborn, because as a player, you've never been there, right? You just sort of made it up as your origination point. And you have these plans, and suddenly the DM takes you halfway across the world, and that doesn't really manifest. So you have to be kind of flexible in that regard. Here our 4 adventurers have made up their party. The DM says, okay, that looks good, and we're going to get going. And I, as the DM, I'm going to start running a story. Again, for anyone who just is joining, this is ginger ale in a soda stream. Nothing that's going to impair my broadcasting is happening here. And make this a little bit more visible for you all. Every adventure is going to need a hook of some kind. This is the classic, everyone already knows each other and they're just waiting for something to happen at the local inn or tavern. This could be they all live in the same area and they were brought together because of a festival or even of an emergency. You can say, oh, the town bell is ringing, and even though you live in a farm on the outskirts, 2 miles away, you can hear the tone that everyone is needed to show up, and so you've been sent out as a representative on behalf of your family. There's Jameson in the ginger ale. You're not supposed to know that. So we need to hook our characters. With as vastly different a background as our characters have, it's going to have to be creatively done. One of my favorite hooks that I used was actually from my first campaign. I had sat down, and we're going to go into some story time that's relevant. I sat down with each of my players, and I discovered their characters with them, and I tweaked them, oh, this is okay, now let's avoid this, at least for right now. And I had individual characters. They were from different parts of the world that I already explored, and I said, okay, when you're making your character, just know you're going to be starting in this city and in the marketplace. It's a big city. There should be plenty of reasons that you would be here looking for something or just traveling, passing through. But I left that to my players to make it an organic experience. First session of the game, there's the map. I draw out the marketplace. There's a fountain in the middle, and then there's a bunch of stalls, and there's, kind of an exit out of this plaza in the cardinal directions. Hi, Havoc. Welcome. You're just getting into story time here. In our first segment, we formed a party. Now we're going to get them together and explore how we create relationships within the party. Whether it's an actual romantic one, or we just sort of, bro it up like in Final Fantasy 15. And so each of them, I allowed to place their miniature on the map in a location that would make sense for them. That they want to haggle over the fresh baked bread of the morning, look at, different wares, or just sort of hang out at the fountain or wherever. And once they'd done that, I was describing the area, how the crisp morning air was filled with the scent of warm bread, and kind of like what you're hearing for the music. There's these birds that are chirping, at the first light, and all this is going on. And then after setting this tranquil scene, suddenly a woman screams, "Aye, my purse has been stolen!" And being the more valorous type, right? Because that's what intrinsically makes them adventurers. They snap to attention. And I put some NPC figures out too. I think I didn't even have them as plastic figurines, just as glass beads, so that they'd occupy a space but not be distracting. And everyone kind of went into a panic as someone said, "Purse thief!" And at that point in time, the PCs could take different courses of action to reflect their personality. For example, there was a purse thief, and he was running away and trying to escape out of one of the exits in the cardinal directions of the market. So they could chase after the villain, or they could assist the lady because she had fainted and fell back into the fountain and could risk drowning if she wasn't saved. Also, the crowd was starting to panic. It was an early morning, so it wasn't, hundreds of people trampling. But if someone wanted to assert themselves and say, "Whoa, hey, come on now, settle down, everyone come out this way," or I'll go get the guards, or do crisis management, everyone could play to whatever they felt their strength was. The encounter happened, and things turned out okay. They caught the criminal. They gave the woman her purse back after one of them rescued her from the fountain. And someone, one of the guards came up and said, "Oh, you guys did a really good job. I'm going to need you to come down to the station downtown." Oh, hey, we have a cat. Hello, Nisa. Welcome to the stream. You've joined us for story time. But anyway, so he said, "Yeah, you guys aren't in trouble, but we need to get some statements from you. It looks like each of you." So this allowed for me to pick them out from all the different places that they're at. "I need each of you to come down to the station, give a statement." And so they did. And they recounted what they were doing, and this allowed them as players to set up who they were, what they were thinking, what was going on, and a good way for them to meet each other as well, in character, and get to know each other, because they were all these heroes that did these different things. And the captain of the guard said, "Oh, well, you did a good job, and I want to give you a bit of a reward here, because you caught the notorious criminal Lister, and he had been causing some problems, and we want to thank you for that. Now, if you want, there's another opportunity for you if you go down to the public house around the corner." And I'm kind of abbreviating this story, but I would like to take you down there, and I would like to give you an escort down there because there's a VIP there that I want you to meet. And they're thinking, "Oh yeah, sure, we got a reward, and hey, maybe we can meet a VIP," so that would serve their individual interests, because at this point they're individuals and not a cohesive party. So they go down, and the VIP they meet, like the captain of the guard passes them off, and he's like, "Oh, I'm actually like a captain in the military, not just of the local police. And I heard about what you boys did, and I wanted to thank you. In fact, come inside the tavern. The drinks are on me, and I got some boys in there that really, could use, they could use someone like you as a role model." And so the PCs were, they got their suspenders and like, "Yeah, okay, I'm digging this." After all, they caught Lister, the notorious criminal, and now they have not just the guard, but the local, like, the military interested. So they go in, and there's a lot of people in this tavern. A lot of them are sitting down. In fact, there's even a line of people going to a person who's sitting at a desk. And they go up on stage because they're brought up by this ranking official in the military, and he spreads his arms and he says, "Everyone listen. These are the heroes of Jellicoe Market. They brought down the notorious Lister." And a lot of people are like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah." And to top it off, they said that they were going to sign up for military service. And it then dawns on the characters that they've just been kind of conscripted, because the captain looks at them and under his breath says, "You're going to sign up, right? You're not going to let down all these people. Besides, there's a fat coin purse in it for you. I need morale. So you're going to put your name up here in front of everyone." You know, kind of hush-hush. And who are they to refuse? They're kind of under some duress here. So the captain says, "Look, sign your name and I'll take care of you, but I need you to do this." And so they do, and then he holds up the whatever, the enlistment form, and everyone is cheering. "Yeah, yeah. You know, we have heroes on our team," and oh boy, I knew I wanted to sign up. And that's how the group got together, especially because they come to find out when they were looking, eventually they looked at the name of the criminal, or at least as it was booked in the jail at a later point in time, and the pickpocket named Lister that they were chasing, well, that seemed to have been his last name. He didn't so much have a first name as he did a first initial. That first initial was N. So they had caught N. Lister. Right? Calamity, I already want to assassinate the captain. And Packers fan, welcome. Welcome to the conversation. Hopefully you've been lurking or enjoying the story so far. We're bringing a party that we generated up, and we're going to bring them together and talk about techniques to form bonds and relationships within it. So, Calamity, I'm glad that you enjoyed that. The players, let alone the PCs, when they learned the full name of the person they chased down, they kind of went slack-jawed. And yes, puns are very, very good to use in D&D sessions. Okay, so we end up hooking these characters, right? We have these 4 different characters. We have this tiefling monk. Now, again, their levels and how they're going, we need to pay some attention to it, but it's not immediately relevant for our storytelling session. So we have this monk, this barbarian, this coastal druid, and the wizard, and they all walk into a bar. Well, hey, Delcorin. Speaking of, bada boom. Look, we're forming a party, and your wizard's in it. So, you better get ready. We went through, we broke them down mechanically, we kind of gave them, we talked about different roles that they're going to have, and so now we've hooked them together. In this case, look, we have a Dragonborn from this Dragonborn island. She was a hermit, but she's coming back out into the world. We have the wizard Gentilian, who's crawled out of his cave because he's wanting to solve a riddle. As a DM, though, you as players have come to me and said, all right, here's our characters, here's what we're doing, and where are we going to start? Well, my first instinct is let's start with Hekili Eas's... okay. Cat's attacking the USB cord again. Let's start with Heki's place, because he established himself in a community. He's trying to swoon the mayor's daughter. He has a rival already set up, and so the other characters are present and maybe aware of things going on in the world around them. But I'm going to find a way to start them. Pardon me. Sorry, that's the hazard of drinking some ginger ale on stream. Delcorin is still steadfastly, as this wizard, not taking a bath. So that bar of soap that we had him buy is going towards something else. I don't know. So here, there's the hook to bring everyone together, but there's even sort of the pre-hook of everyone starts in Earford. That's easy for Hecky's player, but the others are going to have to come up with a creative way, and we can negotiate back and forth. Say, okay, well, Earford is actually next to, it's a coastal city. It's not a fishing village by any means, but it's a trading city. Ships come and go out of there. It's rather large, has some influence in the area. And the island that Ancora is from is, X miles offshore. And so it's not, her people come to trade, maybe not often, but they're not unknown in those parts. And so she finds herself there. And then we can say that in his searches, we've had Gintilian wandering around, and he's going to find himself in this influential port city. So, bada boom, we have almost everyone, because we still need to work Mulsha in. Though Mulsha is this soldier, he's in a cavalry unit. There's nothing saying that if he's not just a soldier of this town, maybe this town of Earford, this port city, belongs to the same kingdom or whatever, like a duchy or a republic or something, a city-state. It belongs to the same city-state that Mulsha serves. And so his duties, or just his off time, are going to bring him into this city. And so now we have all of our characters together by their own separate lifestyles, and we need to pineapple pen them into a cohesive unit some way. Yes, Delcorin, Ancora, the druid that we generated the other day, is a hermit also. We randomly determined that for her. And she had discovered apparently a riddle of water and fire interacting with each other. And so your question of did you hear someone and showing that interest is going to be a bond that we can slowly develop between your characters over the course of the adventure. All right, Nisa, you want to come up and say hi to everyone? Oh, okay. Well, she said hi. She's just a little camera shy, I guess. It's alright. I mean, you guys have already seen her butt a couple times if you've been here from the beginning. So we've hooked everyone together, or we've done the pre-hook where you're all in the same city, and now we need to come up with an event of some kind to bring you in. In this case, we could go with the enlistment route that was the anecdote that I shared with you. This could be you all are answering for positions of the same job. Maybe there's a merchant in town who's looking to hire people to go on a protection of some kind, like caravan guards or warehouse guards. And each of you then are brought in under some kind of job or duty or summons, and you are then assigned into a unit. Hey, coincidentally, look, sometimes there has to be a little bit of suspension of disbelief as a player between your character. Though hopefully your DM does a very good job at presenting the hook. Or honestly, we could even say that the pre-hook was set. The pre-hook was set years ago, and that was sort of adventure zero, is getting you all there and establishing your characters. And now you all have been a unit of security guards working the docks and warehouses for 2-3 years by now, and so you know each other very casually and conveniently, and we can skip forward before the story truly starts into having a rapport with each other if you didn't want to develop that along the way. Even going back further, something that I did in a campaign a while back is our pre-hook was the childhood adventures of the characters. Now, this was done in 4th edition, but sort of in 5th edition terms, we rolled very basic stats, even low stats for most of them, and they didn't even really have a full background. They might have one thing that they are okay at doing, because they were kids. They were all 10, 12 years old, and in that case, they were all orphans. Well, not